everybody. I wanted to share a super simple video today. It's on homemade cranberry juice. I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick how to do this. It's using the water bath canning method. So I have a pot prepared with my water. You can just buy a regular stock pot. That's where I bought this. I didn't buy a specific canner pot. This is what I've used for canning a lot of different things. I'm just going to move this over to the stove here. And I'm going to go ahead and set this to boil and get really hot. While that's boiling, I'll show you what I have here. So what I have is I have 1 3/4 cups approximately of cranberries placed in quart jars. So I have 6 jars. Each jar is going to get, you can either choose a 1/4 cup of sugar to a 1/2 cup of sugar. It's just based on preference. Typically, I like my stuff sweeter, but I'm going to do 1/2 and 1/2. I'll have half the jars with the 1/4 cup and half of the jars with 1/2 cup. So, go ahead and put your sugar in your jars. And then the next step is going to be the last step until we water bath. Also, I'll show you guys what I did this year. I didn't get that much canning done this year, but what I did can, I mostly did the water bath method. So I'll show you what I canned using the water bath method, so that next year, when the canning season comes around again, I can show you guys how to can those items. So, this is what I've done with the water bath method. I made some peach jam. It turned out really good. Has some chunks of peaches in it. Super simple to make. I mean, just super easy. I also made some peaches. So they're cut different because they were very small peaches. But those turned out really well. So I kept both of those recipes. I also made apple pie filling, which turned out pretty good. It's nice and thick. Like you can see, it's not runny in there. I've used that a couple times already this year. It's nice to have it pre-made just to make some pies. Also applesauce. I made some applesauce. It just has cinnamon in it. It is not sweetened with any sugar. I use that for my little guy. So that's what I did using the water bath method. Anyway, so those are the cranberries. If you guys want to see what cranberries I bought from the store, I would say this bag, I think it made 3 of these jars. So I used 2 jars amongst 6 quarts. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my cup here, and I'm going to add some water to this. This water I have already put on the stove. You can tell it's already started to simmer a little bit. I'm just going to add 4 cups approximately to each jar. It's really just until you get the jar filled to the brim. You want to leave like 1/2 inch headspace. I'll show you what that looks like. With the cranberries, it's actually about 3 cups, even though the recipe calls for 4 typically. So, let me show you here what it is. So the cranberries float up, that doesn't help very much. So, if I'm to shove these cranberries down, you'll see that's about 1/2 inch headspace. That's where you want it. So, that's the sugar, cranberries, and water. Super simple. And then you're just going to put your cap on. I've rinsed these with hot water just to prepare my jars. And then you want to just make sure you twist it on. I'll do that in a second here. Twist it on really tight. I'm going to do this with all 6 of my jars. And then I'm going to come back on here after this water starts to boil. And I'll show you guys how to do the water bath method. Okay guys, my water's ready. It's boiling. I have my tongs. I'm going to grab a jar. I use my tongs to put it in, or try to. It's kind of slippery, really. You can buy better canning tongs. I've just always done it this way, because it doesn't bother me any. So, adjust your jars in there. One. Another one over here. Sometimes I have to take water out because sometimes it wants to go over, so it looks like we may have to take a little bit out. I'm only processing 3 at a time since it only holds 4 and I am only making 6. So we'll see if this goes over. Nope. Okay. Perfect. But it is boiling. So I have to turn it down a little bit. So I'm going to turn it down so it simmers. It doesn't have to boil like crazy the whole time. And we're going to set a timer. And it's just going to be a timer for 30-minute processing. As soon as that timer goes off, we will take the jars out, set them on a paper, or not on a paper towel, but on a drying towel on the counter, and just let them sit there to cool off for about 12 hours before we actually put them away and store them. Here is the final product, guys. I have it laying on my drying towel like I told you I would do. I've labeled my jars and the dates that I've made them. So now all I have to do is let this sit for about 12 hours to cool off. Once it is cool, you want to test your jars by just making sure this center doesn't pop. I'll show you. Let's see. That one pops. You hear that pop? That means it's not sealed yet. So by the morning, that jar will probably be sealed, but you just want to test it and just make sure it doesn't pop. If it still pops, I usually just throw that jar in the fridge and I use it immediately. Typically, 95% of my jars seal properly doing this water bath canning method. So that is my cranberry juice, guys. I still have 3 more that are in the canner right now that will be coming out soon. Otherwise, that is the final product. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed.